Thank you for joining us with the podcast. My name is Mohammid Bafaki, and I'm joined here with Ernie Gonzalez. The San Jose State Spartans beat Wyoming 20-17 on senior night. Wyoming was a bowl eligible team with a plus 500 record. San Jose State snapped a 10-game losing streak. It was senior night for a lot of guys. Ernie, a little change of scenery for you. You went from being up in the booth to down on the field. What was that like, especially because it was a win?
It was awesome. It really was. It's always cool when you get to see, all the hugs, especially pregame. Pregame, they had their own little ceremony for the seniors and, running down the, man-made tunnel for, meeting Coach Brennan down there, giving the hugs, showing tears, taking pictures, whatever. But it was definitely quicker. It was definitely a different type of game being down there. Jermaine Kelly, for one, first guy downfield on a punt return, hit the heck out of, the punt returner right in front of me. And just alone, it's like, wow, this is football. It's real.
And I think that was something they were missing, was energy from the jump. But it seems like they got that. They scored first, which is something that they also did in the last couple games. But they were able to play through the fourth quarter, and that was huge. But between the offense and defense, well-balanced, but particularly on the ground game where you had another different running back step up in John Packer. Montel Aaron had a rushing touchdown, didn't throw too well. But talk about the rushing attack finally getting going.
Yeah, finally. That's the word, finally. I mean, it's like we've been waiting all season. They had a 10-game stretch where they only had one rushing touchdown. And for them to rush for 4 touchdowns to finish off the last month of the season, it's definitely great to see. You touched on it. John Packer, 2 touchdowns, 18 carries, 126 yards the last couple weeks. Saw him really come to life in Colorado, see him again finish off strong here against at home against Wyoming. And it's definitely cool to see a walk-on, a local kid kind of just emerge.
Absolutely. Defensively, you mentioned Jermaine Kelly, who made a big play on special teams, but it seemed like a lot of the secondary were making big plays. Talk about the defensive effort, because I think this was probably easily their best game defensively.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like, especially the secondary. They've only given up just the defense, they've only given up 213 passing yards a game, which is, in the middle of the pack. But overall, I mean, it was awesome to see, the last game. And it's not just the seniors. It was everyone. It was like if everybody was out there playing their last game. And, Jermaine Kelly, Dakari Monroe, Andre Chauncey, Maurice McKnight, these boys, I mean, they went out there fighting. They went out there, having fun. And Dakari Monroe, 2 picks. Andre Chauncey, he left the game early, but what he did out there on that game, with the time he had, 3 quarters and a few minutes, he definitely left his mark out there.
Definitely. Speaking of Andre Chauncey, the targeting hit, did you feel like it was targeting? And what was that farewell like? It was early in the fourth quarter, but it seemed like he teared up a bit. What was the response to that?
Yeah, I was actually on the sideline, and I got it on tape, and I actually went, back and reviewed. I'm like, at the time, I didn't know, I was getting a lot of responses saying that wasn't targeting. But when I look back at it, I think it was just the way the crown of his helmet just kind of hit the chin area of the opponent. But, it is what it is. It's football. Things like that happen. Rules are rules. And I guess you just kind of have to, deal with it. But for Chauncey, for him, to be playing here through all the ups and downs with this team, and really was a captain on defense. And for him to, go out that way, you can see why the Spartan faithful would be a little upset. But overall, it is what it is. It's his farewell.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as far as in the grand scheme of things, this is a big win for them. But going up against Wyoming, playing with a backup quarterback, do you feel like just getting a win was what they needed, or do you feel like it was bigger than, finally snapping a losing streak? It was something that they could build off moving forward.
It's definitely both. They've definitely needed a win. 10-game losing streak. It definitely pushes them in the right direction, into recruiting, into the off season, into spring, into winter workouts, whatever it is. But it's one of those things that it's just motivation. You kind of look back at this game and say, look what we can do. Yeah, it's a backup quarterback, but it's a 14th ranked defense. It's a defense that is very, very good. They turned over the ball, I think, 2 or 3 times, but, they average, I think, 4 turnovers a game, the Wyoming defense. So, it's just one of those things where you could just look back and just, be proud of.
Absolutely. And then moving forward, you mentioned recruiting. Brennan seems like he really wants to focus on finally bringing in his own guys, but also looking at certain characteristics and certain guys that he brings in. What do you think will be the main emphasis as far as recruiting goes and as far as some of the guys that are coming back? Because there are a lot of juniors going into their senior year.
Yeah, one thing to know about Brennan is he loves local kids. And, we've seen that with Deshaun Packer. We've seen that with other kids. I mean, they already have a few recruits that already have committed that are, from around the San Jose area. And, Brennan, he's might be on a hot plate or whatever. Some people think, he shouldn't deserve a second year. I personally think he should because he, didn't have the time to go out and recruit the guys he wanted to. But now that he does have that time, the second year it's his really to lose.
Well, he ended the first year on a high note, got a little Gatorade bath, and the wins will stick with them because through all the ups and downs that they've had to deal with this season, at least, the lasting impression is a victory. But moving forward, who do you think are some of the guys that we'll need to pay attention to? Montel Aaron will kind of be the front runner as far as the quarterback race goes, instead of last year where it was, a four-man race. The backfield will be interesting as well because late in the season you saw Malik have a big run, a big game, and as well as with Deshaun Packer.
Yeah, I mean, I think two guys, one on offense, one on defense, that we should be looking forward to. Obviously, Tyler Nevins. You can't forget about Nevins. He had, one of the heaviest workloads from a freshman this season in the country. 632 rushing yards, sure. He's a guy who really wants to step in and told me, back in February, hey, I want to be the next Tyler Irvin here. He got the same first name, but, Tyler Nevins, that's going to, hopefully he makes it a name to remember. Another one, Dakari Monroe. I really think he's going to be the new face of that, money team, that secondary. And matter of fact, while I'm at it, Frank Ginda, if he's back, there's a lot of talk right now, a lot of speculation if he's going to, declare. But, if he's back, Spartans will definitely be fortunate to have him.
And that's a big if, but for the seniors, obviously they won't be back. Where do you think some of those guys will end up? Do you feel like there are any players that are, NFL quality or NFL ready, or do you feel like, some of those guys will probably end up going undrafted and somehow end up, on a practice squad or on a training camp roster?
Yeah, both on defense for me. Jermaine Kelly and Andre Shawster, I think both of them are those type of kids, just those type of people on and off the field that just, love what they do. Being, football, you see them on days they shouldn't be out there working, sweating and, trying to perfect their craft. And I think, Andre Shawster, Jermaine Kelly, just both of them really have a passion for playing football. And I think, you'll see that if, an NFL team gives them the chance.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up for the season. San Jose State finished off 2-11, 1-7 in Mountain West play with the big win over Wyoming, 20-17 on senior night. For Ernie and Mohammid, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.